The views and opinions shared on this show are from personal perspective, life experience of the individuals who share them for entertainment purposes only. This platform, its brand, and participants are not liable for the application and or results of any information shared on this channel. Viewers are advised to conduct their own research and make informed and prayerful decisions for their lives regarding the topics covered on this platform. Warning: this presentation is for adult audiences only. Have you ever had a moment where you just needed your mother? I know I have. The measurable growth that I've experienced in my life, both personally and professionally, have been solely in part because of my mother spending hours patiently dealing with me in tolerance, sharing her wisdom in conversation. This is a gift that I want to share with all of you. I am so fortunate to have a mom that not only has my back, but unapologetically tells the truth, whether I want to hear it or not. In formal settings, people would read her extensive resume filled with her decades of experience and award-winning accomplishments corporately, religiously, and in the private sector. But for the sake of time, I'll let you experience her credibility for yourself. Make yourself comfortable, quiet your spirit and your space. Prepare your hearts, because you're about to have a mama moment. I'm Gigi Renee, and tonight I am joined by my precious mother, Lady McNair, for a mama moment. Tonight's show is about the damn social trends covered in her upcoming book entitled To Hell with the Village. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Tell us about it.
Hello, everybody. Okay, To Hell with the Village. It actually started when I was working with children. And I would encounter parents, and I would notice, because of course I'm of an older generation, how the interaction had changed. I was wondering what had happened that caused that to be. Because, according to the African proverb, it takes a village to raise a child, and we still say that. But I realized the village better not say nothing to boo. Because parents ain't having it. They're not having it. And I wondered what had happened to cause that type of environment in our neighborhoods. I was thinking about it, and I realized that the village was our blood families, our extended families. Our village consisted of the teachers who taught our kids, the pastors who pastor in the church, the youth pastors, we entrust them too when we take them to service. The very people in our neighborhood who lives next door to us. Even if children are in walking distance, we call it the corner store. Even if they're in walking distance of the corner store, all of those people make up the village. And in talking to people, I realized, I ain't gonna say I discovered, but I realized the village have oftentimes been very dishonorable. They have had no honor in the village. And so as children have grown, children whose parents trusted the village to take care of them, trusted the village to keep them safe, trusted the village to, just help them do the right thing. That oftentimes, without question, parents trusted the village. And the village was not doing things right. Too often. I'm not saying everybody in the village now was crooked, but too often times, because in the village, there's incest, In the village, there's molestation. In the village, there are liars and truth breakers. In the village are thieves. And in the village are people that you would normally think would promote the positive and the good, that they did not. Now, being a former pastor's wife, I always prayed for the congregation. I really did. And my prayer was real simple because I was selfish with it. I said, Lord, everybody who will come in contact with my children, let their advice sound like me. It was important to me that their advice sound like mine, because children oftentimes gravitate to other people. I don't know what that is.
And we'll hear them.
I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
And they do. They tend to feel like they've said something very profound. It could be the exact same thing you just said, or have been saying at the house, but somehow it just all makes sense now.
It clicked.
So I needed them. I really needed them to sound like me, that they were not giving advice that was contrary to what I was giving at the house.
Speaking, I'm going to stop you right here. Now, speaking of the village, you have a member of your village, because you're an older woman.
Yeah.
With a very young child.
Yes.
God bless your heart.
Yes.
So what I want you to do is introduce a member of your village that we have here joining us today.
Well, the member of my village here is Miss Deanna.
Yes.
Who have come and joined me today, which I'm very excited about, who I've had the pleasure of actually working with and fellowshipping in a private way. That we're sisters and we're getting to know each other and we're spending time together, and I think it's an age difference between us too.
Not that much.
Oh, okay, I'll take it. But
it don't matter. Black don't crack.
But
it don't matter.
But we have been in different types of conversations, and as I was sharing with her, kind of what I was going to be talking about on this session today, just Deanna, give me some ideas you have about this.
Well, one thing, when I met Miss McNair, it was in the situation of working with children, and I always was impressed with the fact that she could verbally express what I was thinking in such a way that it wouldn't come out that way if I said it. And a lot of times I would look at a situation one way and she would tell me to look at it from a different perspective and explain to me why things went the way they weren't when we were speaking with parents. And so I feel like you're on the right path when you talk about the fact that the village has changed. The children know now. I mean, the children now know that they can't trust anyone. We used to say that, don't trust people.
Don't trust them, yeah.
Stranger danger.
Yes,
stranger danger.
yes.
But now it's family danger.
Yeah.
Neighbor danger. Church danger.
Village danger.
Village danger. My God.
I mean, I have a 14-year-old child, and I'm older, and she told me she doesn't want to learn how to drive because of human trafficking. And I said, what are you talking about? What does that have to do with driving? She said, Mom, they crash into the back of your car and they steal you. And I would have never thought of that at 14 years old. I would have never thought about human trafficking or being kidnapped. I was so excited about turning 15 to get my permit so I could drive.
Yes.
She doesn't want to get her permit because she's afraid that she's going to get crashed into and kidnapped.
So both of you have 14-year-olds, 14-year-old girls.
That know each other, yes.
God bless your heart. God bless your heart. When you guys talk, I know you guys talk a lot, and I know that even the nature and the character of our children has changed, because I'm an 80s baby, and I would not think about half of this stuff these children are doing, saying, interacting, and I'm just like, wow. So it is not appropriate for me to say, I've been there, I've done that. Yeah, to a degree. But this right here, what we're living in this generation, is totally different.
Totally different.
Well, I think one of the things that have happened to the generation, because I noticed it actually when you all were younger, you and your siblings, y'all were younger in school, that you all, the school you attended, had a full-blown computer lab. I mean, to the nines. And they were teaching the young kids, the kindergartners, were scheduled weekly to go into this place, and they were introduced. And so even we at the house, we got a computer, but we were always very limited in what we were doing, But the thing is, too, the children today have such access to the internet. And even when, as I was one of those parents who's like, okay, the kid doesn't need a phone. The kid doesn't need a phone. The kid doesn't need a phone. Well, I realize if they ain't on their phone, they'll be on somebody else's phone. So they're on the phone. And when they ask us, can I borrow your phone? They're still on the phone.
Exactly.
And they're still having great access to the internet. And it is all kinds of stuff on it. And they, because of their immaturity, and that immaturity is just huge, their immaturity does not allow them to consider the dangers of what they're doing. So the person who has a 13 and 14-year-old who has looked at this and said, this might not be good. Honey, you way ahead of the game. Because most of them haven't got a clue. Not only do they not have a clue, they don't want a clue. And they think something wrong with you for trying to give them a clue.
Or you just don't understand. You don't know what I'm going through. You're right, I don't understand.
Yeah, and even at my age, I can still recall being a teenager. I can still recall it. Now, I will admit, I was one of those slow children, and I wasn't interested in a lot of things even kids my age were interested in. But I still can remember it. I can still remember how we had to be careful. Careful to the point, I was a tennis player. I played tennis every day after school. I slept, ate, drank. I was just
walked.
I was all about it. I was all about the tennis. And I did not realize that I walked home every afternoon and there was a lady sitting on her porch. And I did not realize she paid attention to me. Every evening I walked home. I didn't even realize it till one day I was walking. It was a little later. It was a little darker. And from her porch, me not seeing her, she says, "You are late today."
So she, and you never
village.
She said, "You are late today." And I said, "Yes, ma'am. I should have left my regular time. I was playing and talking and all of that." And then my grandmother said to me when I was a child, she said, "Change up the way you come home. Don't come home the same way every day." I was a kid. I didn't really get what she was talking about.
Which goes
but I did
the
it.
Same thing that I was saying about my daughter. I want to tell her now, be conscious of who's following you. Make sure that there's no one, because these are things we didn't have to worry about. We just drove home and we were good. But now when someone pulls up behind you, you don't know if they followed you or if they're lost and looking for, a place they're trying to get to. The world has definitely changed.
I think the other thing too, you say that we didn't think about it and we felt safe. When in actuality we really weren't safe.
We weren't.
We really weren't. And that's why the village has taken on the spirit that it has, and why people do not want you to chastise their children. They don't want you to correct them. It's a hands-off situation. And that's because I really do believe children grew up with their parents totally trusting people who weren't trustworthy.
I remember
they weren't trustworthy.
Arguing with my dad one time that he was wrong because the teacher said something. The teacher told me something, and I told my dad, and he said, "Oh no, that's not right." I said, "No, you don't. The teacher said it, Dad. It's right." I remember having that much faith in my teacher, and that's not what the children have for their teachers now.
I know I had I'm telling you, to this day, my life is scarred from my third grade teacher. And it's so real to me. I was thinking about it last night because every time I have to type something or I have to write something, I have to be very conscious of my spelling. I don't really know my timetables to this day off the top of my head. Where did I learn both of those? In the third grade.
Yes.
My third grade teacher was horrible. I've always been a very studious child, which means I don't get it right away, but if, I apply myself, I get it.
Right.
In that third grade, I struggled with spelling and I struggled with learning my timetables. And third grade was key because I had a teacher who did not like me and who lied on me. You remember that lady lied on me?
I remember you said that.
But see, this is my mom say this all the time. Every grown-ups ain't always right.
That's right.
Right.
And that's why it's so important to really know your child. Just like my little sister. I can look at her and tell when she lying. And then I can look at her and tell when she telling the truth.
Yes.
So when other people like, that's not what happened. Nah, she ain't lying. I'm looking at her. She ain't lying.
Because you know.
Because I know her. Because I know her.
Now, as young people, this is what they need to practice. And us older people, too. We need to tell the truth.
Yeah.
We need to practice
in front of them.
telling the truth. And I'm going to also say this to parents. You got to be careful what you model. You have to be careful what you model. Because without you, because they'll come and they'll act out certain ways. And then you're quick to say, well, I didn't tell you that. Or I didn't say that.
We be trying to beat ourselves out the chair.
But you've displayed it.
Right.
Without you, really verbalizing it. They watch us in traffic when we get cut off.
They listen.
Or when somebody's driving extra slow.
Now, you're not going to sit here and be talking about me in front of my face on my own show. That's not what we going to do here.
We're teaching. I always say in all things.
Yeah, we are
teaching. With you. My I have a 16-year-old. 16-year-old son has this permit and we're driving. And, I don't mean to do it, but I'm teaching him, right? So I'm like, you're too close on this side.
Right.
You need to make a left turn. You turn too wide. Stop. And I'll do this while he's driving, right? So the other day he decided he didn't want to drive. He wanted me to drive. So I said, okay. So I'm driving, and he started doing what I did to him.
Wow.
Mom, that was a horrible turn. I feel nervous now. I'm feeling nervous. And he goes,
wow.
And it was like a wake-up call for me. Because when I got home, I felt embarrassed. I said, okay, that's how he feels when I make him nervous.
This is why I know Michael Jackson was a prophet from God. Because Michael Jackson said, I'm starting with the man in the mirror.
There you go.
Okay.
Lord, don't you reflect. That's why I refuse to have kids. Don't you reflect back on me. Oh, I'm not going to be disrespected in that way.
And they will get you. They will. And this particular child, he got me again today.
Yeah.
Today, he let me read his essay. Okay, so we're talking about the village.
Okay.
For some reason, I keep taking people in my home. And I'm not talking about a few people.
That's right.
I'm talking about a lot of people.
Yeah.
And my mother raised me by helping people. She helped a lot of people. I think that I've lost my mission. And my mission needs to be redirected. And I heard it through my son. Because he wrote an essay. It was an illustrated essay. And it started off with talking about how people take advantage of other people. And then he said, the worst part of it is when you are watching someone take advantage of someone. And I'm looking at him like, oh my goodness, he's talking about me. Wow. And when he got down to the end of it, basically he talked about, he says that people need to be responsible for themselves. And they need to take responsibility for their own actions. And that when you try to help someone out and you're doing everything for them, they're not learning anything. He put this in his essay. He's 16.
16. Wow.
And at the end of it, he said, "Dear Mom, I need you to stop." And it was...
Oh, you had an intervention?
This morning.
He slipped.
And you know how you try to play it off to make me like I'm tearing up, but he was like, "My teacher's going to eat this up, Mom." Wow. He said, "But this is for you." And I was just like,
wow.
Because I have someone in my house that what we're talking about is going on. My husband yelled at her. He said, listen, he said, I don't want to hear any more negative talk about the baby father. You're here with us. I don't want my kids to hear this. They're not exposed to that. And I never even thought about it, how it's casting a negative spirit in my home.
A spirit, that's right.
And I'm trying to help her, but she's not listening. Because the next day, everything that we said, she keeps on coming back to it.
Let me tell y'all something. And this is a word from God. I'm going to share with everybody. I don't let people in my house that I don't intimately know. Okay? Because a very large percentage of dust is made out of human skin cells. It gets in the curtains, it gets in the drapes, it gets on the walls, it gets everywhere. And everything about you is in your DNA. And your DNA has a spirit.
Okay.
So I'm very careful of who walks through my... I had to learn that lesson the hard way. Because I started going through some stuff physically in my body. And my mama checked me one day. I ain't going to say exactly what she said, because I'm not going to tell my business. But she was like, that's because you letting people run in and out of your house. That's why you're going through what you're going through. Now, that's a hard check when you have a heart that either wants to do something.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
And I feel bad. And why do I feel bad when it's not my life? It's not my family. It can be a complete stranger, and I will feel bad for them. And
You
want to
remind
help
me of
them.
my daddy.
Well, part of what it is.
I'm that village.
My that's right.
No, you sound like you had a Jesus complex.
We oh wow. I just decided when I got married. It was interesting, the engagement period. I'm going to leave it at that. And I stood after I got married and we returned back to here in Jacksonville. I stood in the living room of my home and I said, God, anybody who doesn't mean me any good, anyone who doesn't mean my marriage any good, would you kindly keep them away from my house? Well, I was married 22 years, I believe it was, before my husband passed. I could count the people on one hand and probably not use a thumb.
Preach.
Who the company I had.
Yeah.
I had no company. That doesn't mean that if you didn't come to my house, you didn't mean me no good.
Right.
That's not what that meant.
Right.
But I did believe that the Lord honored my requests. I really do. And I think sometimes we just have to settle in to who we are, and we need to stop trying to entertain everybody, because there's no good. And it's okay being an overprotective mom. I'm going back to the hell with the village. It's okay with being an overprotective father. I got accused of it all the time.
Right.
When the babies were young and they were like, oh my God, Sheila. And it was okay with me because I did believe that children are assigned to you for a season.
For a season.
For a season. You hear me out there real good now. For a season. I don't believe we're supposed to be taking care of them the rest of their life.
Right.
They are assigned for a season. And it is our responsibility in that season to pour into them the things they're going to need to be able to navigate this life successfully. And unapologetically, we are going to be held accountable for that. I really believe that. So those of us who work with children, we can always stand to the side and we look. We sometimes turn our head sideways, or sometimes we turn and face the wall and the tears roll down our cheeks because we see a need, but we really need divine instruction on who to go help, because we run to help and we haven't been sent.
Because we have a heart. We
haven't been sent to help. And if we're not careful, we will allow our household. See, when we've got kids, we have to be mindful that they are the first charge.
And I'm going to tell you, nobody can speak to this better than a pastor's child or a child in who has a parent in leadership in some capacity.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I grew up in a house with a bishop and a first lady who was always ripping and running, helping other people.
Okay.
And that, for a long time, put in my heart, I'm not going to speak for my siblings, put in my heart, I could have had more school clothes. I could have had this. I could have had that if they wasn't so adamant about taking out of our mouth to help other people. And for a long time, it took me a long time to get over that. It wasn't until I came into my personal relationship with God that I understood why they did what they did. It wasn't for nobody else, but as to bring glory and service to God.
It's funny that you say that, because this is, again, like confirmation. So I have 5 kids. The older 3 are adults. And what you're saying is what they have said to me. You didn't make all my games because you were doing this and that for other people. And some of it is true, but if I wasn't there, I made sure there was a representative. My mom or dad, someone from the family was there. But I made as many games as, then a little bit. I made a lot of the games. But I did, from time to time, try to help somebody out and it missed a game or whatever. Or missed a show or missed whatever it is that they felt was important to them, trying to help someone else. And they still haven't come. And how old are you?
I am...
Okay.
I'm in my 30s.
Right. So they haven't come to that. They're in their 30s. They haven't come to that age yet where they accept why I do what I do. And I don't even know why I do it, but I have to stop because I realize there's one person in particular. There's about 4 people that I pour a lot into. One person I poured a lot into who has a child as well. The child called me godmom, even though I was her godmom. Her child called me the godmom. And I loved it. And she started getting frustrated with me, and she told him, don't call her godmom anymore. And I cried.
She told the baby this?
Yes.
Wow.
She's not your godmom.
So this person is selfish.
Mad because I wasn't giving any more money.
Oh, okay.
So I'm not the godmom anymore. And he told me, I'm not allowed to call you godmom anymore. And I was like, and it just like, and then I woke up actually this just happened. I sent her $20 because I know she's struggling. And the grandmother of the child called me and said, hey, I don't have money to feed him, but I have him. Would you take him for this weekend so I can, build up some stuff and I'll get him back during the week? And I said, yeah, sure. She said, let me ask the mom. The mom said, I told you she can't get him.
Oh, child, honey. They will be hungry. They better get in that line where the grocery store passing out some food.
It was a reality check. I had the son put me in place this morning about me trying to help people. I had already sent the money and got the response back that she told her no. And I texted her and I said, hey, listen, I just sent you the $20 that you asked me for. And I got the message from your grandma, the grandma of the child, that you don't want me to get the baby. And I said, I just want you to know that I saw on Facebook one time that it said, when someone shows you who they are, believe it.
Yeah, come on, Maya. Come on, Maya Angelou.
So I'm believing, and
That's
I'm seeing now what my son is trying to tell me.
The first time. See, believe him the first time.
The hell with the village.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm there with you.
Yeah.
I have reached out. And so what is the answer? What do you think, Lady McNair?
Yeah.
Do we, as the village, because I still feel that hunger to help, do we still stay the village, stay with our, who we are, because I know you like to help as well? Or do we, you help differently than I do. Or do we stay in our lane and say, to hell with the village?
I think first off, we got to be led.
Okay.
And when I say led, I mean godly led.
Yeah, I get that.
We really do. We have to be godly led, because I don't believe the Lord leads us into a place where we're not going to be received. That's the first thing. And to some degree, not appreciated.
Yes.
Come on now.
So we have to learn how to allow ourselves to be led, because oftentimes we're not asking, should I go? We just run head on.
Right.
We see a situation and we just run.
Because we got a heart.
Because we know we can help here. We know we can help. I can make this better. So we run on. But the other part of what we've got to do too is we really have to pray that people will come into the knowledge of who God is for themselves.
Yes.
Because and you know, I'm not knocking you, whoever you want to worship, whatever girl, if it worked, brother, if it worked for you, then so be it. But for me,
come on.
For me, Lord Jesus Christ is my Savior.
Come on.
For me.
The Lord.
And it works. It works. That giving spirit, that concern, because I have learned sometimes you can't say anything and you can't do anything, but I can go to the Father
and pray.
I can tell him about it and he will fix it.
Yes.
Now, does he fix it like I want it fixed a lot of times? No, because we are the reason we are in situations.
Yes.
We are the reason. We have made extremely poor choices. We have made really, really, really poor choices. And then there are people who come to bail us out. They bail us out time after time after time.
And that gets
and
exhausting.
We are an enabler.
That's right.
Of a non-disciplined life.
Because they never have to address it. They never have to address it if you keep rescuing them.
And it isn't easy to just leave them, especially when children are attached.
It's very hard.
Especially when children are attached.
But then it's right there that you need to do it. Because, you know, I just had a discussion with the same child. I said, look, I don't understand why your headphones are in the playpen. That's not a toy.
Right.
Well, that makes him stay quiet. I gave you those. I paid my hard-earned money for that. That's not a toy. If the baby bites it off. Have you noticed on the news that, I mean, when I was growing up, we had the hugest televisions with the big old backs. I never heard stories of the televisions falling and killing babies. But it's because the babies are raising babies and they're not watching their children. We watched our children. We never let them climb where the television could call and crush them. Now, I'm sure it happened, but it happens a lot.
This is where
Now.
to hell with the village.
Yes.
People don't want you telling them nothing about raising their children.
Yes.
Because number one, all of them have oppositional defiance disorder.
Say it
okay?
again. Say it again.
Oppositional defiance disorder. All of them got it.
Well, the other part of it is too, it's a script. It's a bad script when kids have kids.
Yes.
And
What's a kid? Let's define a kid.
Well, a child to me is
someone who ain't paying their bills and
listen,
who's depending on others
you still
to
let
take care of them.
You still
That's
at your
what
mama
a child
them,
is.
You still at your mama and them house. When you still at your mama and them house, I'm gonna say this:
you are not grown.
You ain't got no business having no baby because
No.
you obviously aren't taking care of yourself. And I don't care if you do work at the McDonald's.
And where you laying up having a baby?
The reality is we have to be responsible. We gotta be responsible. And I know we don't want to hear anybody, but I'm gonna say this.
Say it.
I'm gonna need you to be smart enough to figure out
How to have sex and not get pregnant. Come on.
I'm gonna need you to figure that. Listen, that's 101. So if you're one of these people who just have gotten a taste and it's just the best thing you ever had,
Go on for
and
it.
you want to go for it, I'm not one to come trying to handcuff you, tie you up. No, but I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna need you to go somewhere and get educated. Now that phone you got where you on the internet about every little thing, you need to get on there and get you some information on how to not be pregnant.
And I hope you got that phone through the SNAP program because if somebody else is paying for it, that's going to be shut off soon.
You know.
Say it again.
You know, I mean, come on. Just come on. If I'm still at home and I am still in my parents' house, if the car I am driving is something they are paying for or paid for, and they got me on their insurance, listen, we have no business engaging in suicidal behavior because a baby changes your life.
It should.
You gonna put the concerts? You got to put the concerts on hold.
You would think,
but
they're going
no,
to the
and
concert.
I know you don't.
Okay.
But I'm saying you should have.
And before y'all go here, because I want y'all to take this avenue, I want y'all to remember just where y'all at right now. Because I'm going to say this. They're leaving here. A lot of us are leaving here. unexpectedly. But they are leaving here. If the natural progression and the order goes, these people who are giving and who are willing to do whatever to be the village, they leaving here. Y'all stuck with people like me. Because on my gate, it's going to be a sign say brand new nigga. Okay? You will not be able to borrow no money from me. I know all my cousins. I'm good. So this is why we're having this mama moment. If you ain't got your stuff together, you need to hear this today. Get yourself together. And I would rather you get it together while they're here to help you when you fall and bump your head than for them to be gone and you stuck with me. Because I'm going to tell you, I don't care what your sob story is. Unless the Lord send me, I ain't going.
Yeah, we really do have to figure this out. And I've always told my kids, time is not our friend.
No.
Time is not. Time is such a deceiver because you always think, well, I got some time. You know what it says, don't put off tomorrow what you could do today. But we always think we've got some more time. We could really kind of do this. And you have to start to put in place. There is so much more to all of this because as an older person, I would have done my children a disservice if I don't discuss my leaving. But we don't like to talk about death. Now, I don't know what them other people do, but I know we don't like to talk about death. I mean, I should have done it like this, but I know we don't like to talk about death. But if the word be true, and without the word, just looking at life, we are born and we die.
We gonna die.
And ain't no need you losing your mind when Big Mama leave, because you just never thought Big Mama was going nowhere. And you didn't live in a real world no how.
Nope.
Because we live and we die.
And please don't fight over the money. Have you noticed that?
Okay, see, y'all going into a whole nother show.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
And see, this is what happens when you sit around older, seasoned people. They start pouring out wisdom. Some of us are in such a hurry. We know everything. You don't. It's some things that time and experience only can reveal to you. And it's by sitting up under the seasoned women who can teach the younger women. And those of you that are my age need to really be sitting up under these women because you are next Big Mama. You're the next Big Mama. You're getting old. Yes. Not me. God bless me.
Well, you know, the other thing is, too, that there are a lot of women, older women, who are seasoned. They are not out on a TV show or a YouTube channel or anything, but they are there in the homes and they are trying to talk to you. They are trying to talk to you. You need to slow down. You need to slow down and you need to hear them. Baby, you need to slow down and you need to hear them. And you know.
And stop trying to take people's children. Teach them how to be a better parent.
Yeah.
That's another thing. It's about the money. The village is trying to get the money now. Okay, you had a baby. So-and-so is a teenager. She had a baby. Don't try to take her baby. Teach her to be a good parent. You know, and that's another thing that I noticed. It's all about the money. You know, to hell with the village because they want the money. They're like, oh, okay, I'll take her in. Because she has Social Security, I can be the payee and take her money. The village doesn't look out for the child.
Is the Social Security that much money? Because I don't think it really is. It's like, and this is a whole other topic, but that's like foster care kids. When a foster kid starts talking about, oh yeah, you got me because of the money. Baby, you get a reality check.
That much money.
Are you serious? Do you have any idea what it takes to take care of you?
Yes.
I mean, really take care of you.
I'm glad you're hitting on this.
I mean, really take care of you.
But that's still in the village.
And I'm like, it is.
I'm like, are you serious?
Well, but you know what? As black folk, as a culture, we used to take care of other people's babies.
Thank you.
When Sissy and Bra over here couldn't raise, they had too many. They would give a baby to Sissy who maybe only had one or two or didn't have any, and they would raise them. You know, this is something that's been a part of our culture. When did we start collecting kids for a check?
I think when you didn't
when
want to
did
go
we
to work.
start doing it?
I think when you didn't want to go to work, because I encountered a family, I did, who had 5 special need kids.
Special needs, Lord.
5 of them.
How you
and
take
listen,
care of special
listen,
5 special needs kids?
These children were not foster care kids.
They were their kids.
They were their children that they were giving birth. So I'm not understanding how many children you have to have
Okay, for you
that
know,
you figure out that something is wrong on the line.
flag
DNA
on the
mixture.
play.
That something is
That DNA
wrong.
mixture.
Stop
That's
having
right.
these
That
babies.
before you stop, and I did. I asked a question one day. I said, "Well, why would they continue?" And she was pregnant with the 6th child, and I said, "What is this about?
Were they married?
What is this about?" I honestly don't know if they were married or living together, but they were the same 2 people having these babies, and it was just over my head.
Do I know these people?
I don't think so.
Because I just want
You know,
context to know if it was
just-
funny or not.
Just
Lord forgive me. But-
forgive her, Jesus. It was just really
crazy.
over my head, and I was very concerned
Because it's hard.
I just was like, is the check like that?
Was it them people who was feeding their kids bird seeds?
I don't know nothing about that.
I'm really trying to figure this out. Like, what is she talking about? Who's she talking
I don't know
about?
nothing about
You
that.
know, and-
but this is not good. This is.
And I'm going to tell you something. When you have, I don't know what the disability was, but I know I used to work for a company that I was a behavioral analyst, and I worked with families that had the severest mental health children, and most of them were adopted children, and they were threatening to kill their siblings, threatening to kill their parents. And I thought to myself, okay, you adopted 2 at the same time.
So they gonna Menendez get together and kill all y'all. Okay.
Tripping grandma, falling down the stairs type of stuff. And there aren't any resources. That's, again, with that family, the resources aren't there anymore.
Okay, so let me ask you a question, and I promise you I'm not being funny. What race was these people?
They were not our race.
They weren't? Okay.
But I did have some that were our race that they had autistic kids.
Okay.
And they would call me crying because their kids were beating them up.
These black folk.
Yes.
And see, that's what I wanted you to hit on, because we automatically assume that these children with mental health issues and developmental issues that put up with this horrific behavior is white.
No.
That is not true.
It is not true. It is not true.
That's not true.
I actually had an older couple that I had to help. They were clueless because they were an older couple with a young child. He was 17. He tried K2 for the first time, which is a synthetic marijuana, and he was placed in a chemically induced psychosis. So he had a knife chasing them around the house. They Baker acted him, and the doctor kept him longer than he was supposed to, because he said, I don't feel good releasing them back to these parents that have no idea what to do with this child. And he never came out of it. I worked with him for a year. He never came out of it. And they couldn't find any resources. That's that village again. No one was helping them. They were left with this crazy child that was dangerous. He was going in and out of this psychotic state. Some days he would be normal, and the next day he was chasing them around with the knife, telling them he was going to kill them, that they were, devils.
And when you talk about resources, you're not talking about people of affluence who can afford to institutionalize these types of people. You're talking about regular working people,
The village.
who don't have identified resources to go get the help that they need. And you know what? It's easy to sit back, and I'm going to tell you something. I've had an awakening myself. Because I would see kids acting up when I was young and be like, oh, honey, they wouldn't do that to me.
But they would.
But I'm going to tell you something. Ain't nothing you could do about it.
You can't change it.
You can't change it. And if they sincerely have a mental illness, a lot of these kids sincerely have a mental illness. And I'm going to tell you, I was in denial for a long time about you just being defiant.
Adolescent is the worst because that's exactly what happens. People don't believe it. They barely believe it when you have like an allergy. You know that when kids go through the cafeteria line and they say, oh, I'm allergic to fish. They go, yeah, right. Mm-hmm. And they'll take the fish off and leave the crumbs on there, and then the child's had an allergic reaction.
Yeah.
True story happened to me. My child is allergic to fish. She told the lady, she took the fish off, the fish stick.
When she should have threw the whole plate away.
My daughter took a year to recover from it.
And not so much throw the plate away.
Make
a new tray without fish.
I had to go and get a 504. You know what I mean?
That's right.
To protect her. And there's no protection if you don't know what to do.
What to do?
Yeah.
Come on now.
And you need the village. It used to be the village would be the one to say, hey, you might want to go to your school counselor. And, you know, luckily, because I was a single parent and because I have gone through just about everything there is to go through, you know what I mean? I know how to do a lot of things that a lot of people don't know how to do.
Right, which leads us into our next level of talking about the village. When you just hit on it, you're talking about the school counselor. The school and the professional role and the professionals within the educational institution play a large role in helping you with resources and services. But what happens
When they slip.
when they slip and when they burnt down and when they don't want to be bothered and when they sick of working for this school and
that's
what happens there?
And that's only because they're human.
And it
That's
is
only because they are human.
And you're right. The children are the ones
children
who
are
suffer.
the ones that suffer.
Yeah, you can't continually send somebody
Into the trenches.
out to do a job and you don't undergird them and give them what they need to be successful at what you sent them to do. Now, that's a whole nother thing too.
That's a whole nother thing.
But it goes into that village.
I don't know what y'all doing with the money.
The parents need to bring in the supplies, and the school needs to be. You can't teach with 100 copies a month, and you got 128 kids.
Can I say this?
But,
I shouldn't have to roll by a dumpster and see brand new resources and supplies unused, untapped, and you done threw away stuff
That worked.
You
Now
are
you got a
wasting.
new idea.
Okay, first of all, there are things called in business buyers.
Yes.
A buyer determines what is needed for the demographic we're serving,
Yes.
how much is needed, when we're ordering it, when it needs to be in, how much shelf life it takes.
Yes.
So who is stacking up all this stuff wasting money?
And why is it that it's been effective all the way to this point? And now today it's not working. We got to do something different.
Let me tell you
The
why.
kids don't know how to sign their name because we can't teach cursive anymore.
Oh, we don't teach cursive anymore.
We can't teach dictionary skills.
Come on.
How are they going to file something if they get a job where they have to file paperwork and they don't know how to file by the letters? You know, that's not a skill that's taught in school anymore.
No.
When I went to school, I learned sewing. I made a pencil holder with a drill. I made stilts.
They don't learn all that. They don't learn none of that no more. These children don't know how to fry egg.
I don't think we're frying eggs at school anymore. It's been a long time since we fried an egg. But my thing is this. Once again, we have to move back toward family. We have to move back toward family. Many years ago, I was a part of a school, and the district did a survey. And the survey, there was this one question on the survey that caught my attention. It asked who was responsible to educate your child. And we're here in Jacksonville, and we know for many years the bridge used to be the defining line, you know, of who lived where. You know, it isn't necessarily like that now, but it used to be. And across the bridge said it was their responsibility. And on the other side of the bridge, like you leave in town, I'm going to tell you what the other side of the bridge is, like you leave in town, said it was the school's responsibility. And that spoke to me in volumes. And it's taken many years because I've still tried to wrap my head around that.
Now, see, you painted a real pretty bow on that, but this is the noble Bible. We tell the absolute
Well,
truth.
my thing is this. This is where the disconnect is, and this is I believe primarily why we had a problem in the school system that we have.
But what is the demographic? Identify the demographic? You said
well, you know,
people don't have no context across the bridge.
Oh, they don't?
No.
Yeah, y'all do. But anyway, cross the bridge is the folk that don't look like me. That's the cross the bridge people. And the people on the other side of the bridge is the people where I was living. And for me to say, and I'm going to use me as an example, for me to say it was the school's responsibility to educate my child, told me we had missed something long time ago. Because it is not the school's responsibility. It is my responsibility. And Junebug starts learning long before he walk into a school system. Why you think they want him now at 3?
Exactly.
They want him at 3 years old. Why? Because they know for the most part, we ain't doing nothing at the house.
But I said this to you a couple of weeks ago. You remember when parents used to have pride when their kids used to come to kindergarten? Oh, he already knows his colors.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, he knows his ABCs.
Yes.
Oh, he's reading. They used to have pride. They used to pump their chest telling you that. Now?
Yeah.
That Negro still in diapers.
And they calling them names. Stupid. He's bad. They come in telling you he's bad. Don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Don't say that.
Yeah. Yeah, the village guys, we
I'm
really
not giving up.
We really still need the help of the village. Now I'm going to tell you what we got to do. We got to tell the truth.
Yeah, we have to.
And we have to sort out the predators in the village. Now, I know we don't like telling on people, but we got to get rid of them out the village. We really do. Because everybody in the village does not have predatory behavior, and everybody in the village is not setting a poor example.
That's true.
But I tell you, you got to go look for a good example, because a good example is not in their house and is leaving you alone. They are leaving you alone because you are not receptive to wanting to come out and to help and to receive.
I'm not saying that to nobody, kids.
That's right. We're really not, and we just gonna have to find our way. We got to.
And then they need to be honest with themselves, because I know an educated person that left their kids in the car and ran into the gas station. She locked them in, and she could see them, and I understand her logic. She was tired. There was a baby in the car seat, and then but somebody said something to her, and she went off on them.
Of course,
you need to mind your own business. No, you need to take your kids in, no matter how inconvenient it is, because that is a problem.
How is protecting your child inconvenient? I don't have any children. I have a 14-year-old sister who I am very cautious of. Although sometimes I can't stand her guts, I love her every day.
Right.
And I don't want anything to happen to her.
Exactly.
As big as she is, I'll go to the corner store. Get out. Let's go.
Yes.
I don't feel like get out. Let's go.
Walk
you
them
and me.
to the bathroom. Don't send them to the bathroom by themselves.
That's right. And I still do it. She
Me
thinks
too.
she's so independent and she can take care of herself. Baby, you are 14. Now, see, this is where I stand. Hey, I'm fat. I'm big. People ain't checking for me. But I know she's light skinned.
And beautiful.
She's shapely. She's gorgeous. She got that nice hair.
Yeah.
And every time I'm looking. I'm looking. And then eventually, after they get through looking her up and down, they'll catch my eye, and
I actually had a man approach my daughter, my 14-year-old daughter, in the grocery store.
Come on.
And I actually was approached by an older man. I feel like I'm fat too. And I was looking a hot mess this particular day. This older man was standing in the aisles looking crazy. So I walked up and I said, "You need some help?" And he said, "I'm having surgery tomorrow and they told me to drink soup." And I said, "Oh, not this kind." I said, "You need this broth." And I reached up to show him, and he touched my hips from behind and walked up on me. I was like, "If you don't get off of me." And he backed up, and I thought, this is how it happens. I was strong enough to tell him to get away. But how many women aren't? And you see how they had it in the news where this man was following people in Publix.
Yeah.
Or even, a few years ago, how the mother and daughter was shopping, and the man tried to grab the girl
Right
in the
broad
school.
daylight. In broad daylight.
Let me tell you
Dollar
something.
Tree.
I'll be looking for opportunity to fight.
Yeah.
Don't nobody want to give me the freedom to do what I need to do. It, I promise you, it'll be just like a relief for me. But I swear for God, I would really kill somebody. And then on the other hand of this, you got this girl in New York who staged her own kidnapping.
What is that about?
See, the village is so twisted. We got so much going on, so many perversions and complexities. I mean, you can sit here and blame it on.
And what is it?
I don't know what it is. You want to know what it is? It's the devil.
It's the devil.
I do think
It's
it
the
is.
devil.
I do think it is. It is spiritual. I do think it is spiritual.
I do too, which goes back to what you said.
It's just
Seek God first.
and
Yeah.
I think first off, I think teenagers and even some young adults are extremely vulnerable. Those are very vulnerable years, and there's nothing like when you are confused and you're not sure. You're just not sure. You're trying to find your way. You're trying to establish your independence. And I believe people are used every day to take advantage of that.
That's the essay that my son wrote this morning.
They know that you don't know.
Exactly.
Wow.
No matter how much you walk around, no matter how much you profess with your
That
mouth,
sounds like a predator.
that's exactly right. That is exactly what it is.
Only a predator can sniff that off you.
But people have been trained to do just that.
Which same
They
thing
have
men
come.
do to women.
They have come, and it ain't just men doing it to women. It is women
Women
doing
are doing it to boys, little boys.
They
in
just
the school. The
they
teachers.
just come.
Oh yeah, these teachers is out of control. Especially in Florida. I don't know what's wrong with these nasty teachers.
What's wrong with the teacher sleeping with the kids?
How you even attracted to a child? What's wrong with
I
you?
don't even understand.
But you see now how we're saying that, but at the same time, we are always ready. We always think that's about a man
But it isn't.
and a woman, or a man and a girl. Because for the longest time, I said to myself, these are children.
It's about compassion.
These are children. So why the 40-something-year-old,
Yes.
the 40-something, I'm talking about you, the 40-something-year-old who has a 20-something-year-old girlfriend and wife. I always wonder, well, what exactly is it he want from you?
Exactly.
And what exactly is it that you do for him?
Wait, you say, hold on. I must have blacked out for a minute. You said, what do an older man want with a younger girl?
Well, yeah, because it might not be the obvious. I don't want to just assume it's the obvious.
It is. It's called affirmation.
Yeah,
Yes.
what? You don't
They
know nothing.
want you,
Yeah.
through your actions and your deeds, to repeat what they've been saying in their head.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because that ain't what... See,
What the older women do.
I'm fit to go here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Listen,
Yeah.
because when you with a woman, when you really you in a relationship, whether you're married or you're long time dirt, that woman knows you.
Exactly.
Knows every level of who you are, the good, the bad, the ugly, where she can fully assess who you are. Okay? But when you giving somebody a piece over here, they only can assess that piece.
Yeah, that's
Exactly.
So they can tell you, according to the piece they see, you're wonderful, you're great, oh, I love your swag. Nah, nigga.
We know.
I don't even want to know you. Because
like-
if you over here messing with me, I know you raggedy. I know you
Because
raggedy.
you're too young.
I mean, my husband said, we were in a conversation one time, and we were talking about people in relationships outside of their marriage, and he said, it's easy to laugh with the person who isn't in the trenches with you. The person, all you do, like you say, that piece. All you see is that piece. So of course they can listen to all your stuff and how this ain't right and that ain't right.
Right.
Because they're not in the trenches with you. They're not in there paying the bills and doing what needs to be done on a day-to-day
And see
basis
about the children
to keep this thing keep this thing moving.
And messing
I always tell people,
with your
there's
jacked
two
up
sides.
libido.
There's two sides to every story. There's two sides to every story. And when the man is telling you things that sound right, you have to listen. You have to really listen to what they're really saying.
That's good. Because men will
Will tell
always
themselves.
tell you.
Yeah.
But women,
They don't
we
hear
don't
it.
hear
Oh my
what
gosh.
they... If you just stop, do away with the fantasy, do away with the expectation of what you want him to say, and listen to what he is saying. He is telling you he's a dog.
He's telling you. I was on a date. I remember when I was single, I was on a date. And we were watching television, and it came on where this soldier had lost his arms and his legs. And the wife was standing there crying. She was like, we were doing everything, and we're just so thankful for... And I said, wow, that's deep. I said, would you stay if you had a wife and, her limbs had gotten shot off, like let's say she was in the military? He said, oh, no. I said, what if she had cancer? Oh, no, I would leave as soon as she got sick. And I thought to myself, okay, next. Because why would you be with someone who's telling you, when they tell you, believe them.
Yeah.
When they
them.
tell you something,
Yeah.
believe it. Because they're going to tell you.
Now, some of you may be listening to this and be like, how in the world they jump from the hell
village.
with the village to
It's
over
all
here?
part of the
Because
village.
all of this is consequence to how we got where we got. Okay? When the home has systemically become more combative, almost destructive, to where we create a society of children that are raised without both parents in the home, or when they are being raised together but not in the home, they don't get along.
They're seeing too much.
Right, they're seeing too much, they're hearing too much, they're experiencing too much. I just want every man to know this. A girl's first introduction to love
Is the father.
is the father, should be the father, will define how they express and receive love for the rest of their life. If the father is not in the home and they interpret whoever that joker is that come around as love, that will define, mold, and shape how they accept
so true.
and give love for the rest of their life. So if it's combative or it's abusive, they think that's cute.
Yeah.
So you accept me and throwing money over you, and you like, oh baby, nigga, I wish you would throw some money over me. Who? Excuse me?
The norm.
You will not. Come on. They have
think it's the
redefined what is normal and what is acceptable. And being a lady that ain't.
Nope.
That
Let's see what.
That ain't.
And a lot of times, there was a time that I was working in the social work field, and I would say, wear your Sunday best, and they would show up with heels and jeans and a tank top, and I'm like, whoa. Sunday best has gone out. That's
because they don't. That's because for the first time in history, we also have multiple generations that know nothing about God and church. They don't go.
And churches have been
And then they're in
established
trouble.
as come as you are.
Yes. And the judges are old school.
Yeah.
And they're
Come as
looking
you
at them
are.
like, you came to my... And then I have heard them say, you came to my court like that?
Okay, come on.
Yeah.
Go out, change your clothes, and come back. I've heard them say that.
Yeah.
I've heard them say, I will take your child today.
Let me tell you something. I worked in the juvenile justice system as a teacher for 2.5 years, and I watch the men I work with. I tell you, when I left that job, I cried because, and it almost making me tear up now, because there was a core group of men there that were men and that did their best every day to try to get to the ones who would receive it.
Right.
This ain't how you want to do this.
Right.
To the point that they would bring clippers in and cut their hair before they went to court. Tuck your shirt in.
Right.
Lift your head up. Straighten your back up. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am.
Yeah.
We as women can only nurture a man. We cannot
Change.
make him a man.
Thank you.
Period.
Yeah.
I can't show you how to pee standing up. I can't show you how important that when you give your word, it should be your bond. I shouldn't have to second guess what you say. If you say you're going to be here at 7, I should believe you're going to be here at 7.
Right.
And it's just that simple.
Yeah.
But it's all a part of the village. Now we have a society that's plagued with, I just wrote some things down, poverty, education. We got a whole generation of kids can't read.
Yes.
But then the teachers can't fail them.
Right.
That's why I got out.
Exactly.
Oh, you're not gonna come up in here and do nothing.
Right.
And then I'm gonna pass you, and you say my job in jeopardy
Exactly.
because I fail you.
Yes.
Oh no, something is wrong with this. Now you
Something
tell me
is
that's
wrong.
not systemic.
That is systemic.
Okay.
Yeah. What about Common Core?
Okay, well, we're gonna
Let me sit my Zephyr here.
we go.
Go ahead. Hey.
That's a
Listen.
system that's set up to make the. I'm just gonna stop. Make everybody look good, because if you don't meet the mark, they offer you a scholarship to go somewhere else.
Come on.
And then when the public school is full of all of the ones that can pass the test, then it looks like we're competing internationally. Because they've shifted off all the ones that have the no parents, or they just can't learn, or whatever the deficit is. They've shipped them off to the charter schools or the private schools, and then in the public school all they have is that core that can pass. Then it looks good.
And this is where damage of the village comes in.
Yep.
Because
That doesn't represent.
to me it became an ethical issue.
It is.
I cannot continue to be a part of a system that is so unethical. I cannot do this. And I'm a wonderful teacher. I toot my own horn because I know it's true.
And
I love teaching.
You were part of a double negative, because you had the justice system and the education system.
And you know what?
Yeah.
And
Probation is a trip.
Yeah.
Okay.
That probation is just a trap. They're going to go back to jail if they're on probation.
The recidivism rate.
Yeah.
Come on now.
And that's why when I was with
Where's the village?
DJJ, I went out of the classroom. I went out of the classroom and went to be a case manager. And people were like, "What are you doing? What are you doing? Why would you do this?" And I just said, "I tell you what I saw. Oh, we don't have one here on the table. But I tell you, the pen is something." And I saw people really ruining, as far as I was concerned,
Come on now.
young people's lives with the pen.
With an ink pen.
Yes.
With an ink
And
pen.
I used to tell the children, the young men mainly. I had young ladies at some point, but mainly they were young men. And I would say to them, when you think you have won the battle, and you stood up, you stood flat-footed, and you cussed them out, and you told them, and you talked about their mama and everything else you wanted to say, and they said nothing to you. They went back to their office.
And got the pen.
They pulled your file. They got their ink pen, and they started writing. And I'm going to tell you, I just couldn't take it anymore. And I went and said, I want to transfer out to be case management. And the whole place I worked was like, what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? And then when I got the young people in front of me, I had to say, you are at the crossroads with your life. What you going to do with it? What you doing? Are you the statistic? Or are you going to do something here? This is really your choice. Because I encountered so many parents who said, I don't know what to do with them. They could do what they want to do with them.
And I encountered parents whose children were incarcerated. And when I first got there, I was very bothered. They never came and saw about the kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
They walk away.
And you
walked
know,
away.
what's so sad about this is, until you have been there,
That's right.
until you have been, see, it's easy to sit
It's
and
easy
to
to
pass
judge.
judgment
It's easy to
and to say,
judge.
oh my God, that could not
I
be
would
me.
never.
I would never. You don't know what you would do when Junebug start doing the stuff some of these children are doing.
And, I'm going to break it down even more for you. When they come to church and the little girl dressed inappropriately, and why she let her come out the house looking like that?
Yeah.
can't
First of all, you don't know what it took to get her out the house to the church.
And she's here.
And she here.
So be quiet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Leave me all the way alone.
You know, it's
Yeah.
funny because my mom is in the older generation, and I have to remind her all the time because she is really rough. She is really rough on them, and sometimes even teachers too. Sometimes have to realize your words have power,
Yes, they do.
and
All
if you
the
don't
time.
choose your words carefully, you can destroy.
So true.
You know, and that goes back to that village.
But see, that comes from caring.
I'm still working on that.
You have to care. You have to care. I work with a group of people right now who I had to say to them, I realize I upset you. I know I do. Because when you come and you explain what happened, you already know what you want me to do. And rarely do I do what you want.
She never does what you want.
Rarely.
That's why I quit and I don't work for her no more.
And you know what that has to do with? That has to do with looking at a child, looking at their life as best as you could see it from the position that you have with their life. Looking at the parent or whoever it is that's coming to get them from you. Mm-hmm. And you make a decision. What you ask yourself the question first. What am I sending them home to?
Yeah.
What am I sending them home to? So when I follow your lead, who says they should go home, we done had enough. Put them out.
When you done watched when mama send the boyfriend up there who she just met a month ago, to pick the little girl up.
And I pretty much tell parents, I've been in a position where I would have a parent meeting, and when I say a parent meeting, I mean a meeting with everybody. I'm not talking about a meeting trying to get you off in private. And I clearly said, let me help y'all with this. Don't send your brand new boyfriend up here to pick nobody up.
Brand new boyfriend.
You don't even know him.
You don't know him.
Right. Why would
you? Don't know him. You don't know him. So why are you sending him up here to pick up not just your girl, but you picking up your boy?
That's true.
You don't know anything about these people.
You know what they into.
My son told my daughter that the other day. He's like, well, they're not looking for me. They're only going after girls, because she was talking about the human trafficking. Mm-hmm. And I said, no, that's not true.
That's not true.
That is not true anymore. That is not true.
It's people out here. Let me tell you something.
They're looking for everybody.
Perversion is one of those things that are endless. It's like
the elderly.
And y'all are really saved, so y'all may not know this. But I'm talking to my audience now. I'm going to tell you how perversion works. Perversion is you may start looking at porn. And the more you look at it, the more your taste has to escalate for you to get off. That's what perversion does spiritually and in the physical. You find yourself doing stuff you ordinarily wouldn't do. You have to lock the door to that stuff. And this is why having a relationship with God, and we're going to bring it back to this subject, because we're talking about the hell with the village.
Yeah.
This is what society has said, the hell with the village, where we have to realize, those of us who have been called out, the few who have been called out from the many to do a different kind of work that's never been seen in the earth, we have to realize that the enemy has played the long game. Yeah. He started way back when and gave our parents, well, just do a little bit, it'll be all right. Then the next generation come, well, you ain't got to go to church as much, And then the next generation come, girl, I ain't going to church. My mom and daddy had me in the church all the time. I'm not going. Now you got generations who don't go to church, who don't know nothing about God, you say God is good. Most people say all the time. You got kids who don't even know that. Just the simple colloquialisms of tradition and church. Not to say none of that is right, okay?
But that is true. God is good all the time.
He is.
And all the time.
But what I'm saying is the enemy has played the long game on us. And we are foolish to think that we are smarter than the devil. We are not. But if we put our hope and put our wisdom and all of our energy into developing a relationship with God, I'm not talking about going to church. I'm not talking about obeying traditional rules. I am talking about developing a sincere relationship with God where you talk with him and he talks with you. He literally orders your steps, tells you where to go, left or right, who to talk to, who to help, who not to help, what to say, what not to say.
Yeah.
Okay, that's where I'm working. Lord help me. Y'all know I just got saved Thursday. Okay, so don't try me, because my motto is, depending on when you catch me, I may hug you or cut you. Okay? But back to what I was saying. I'm going to be saved on this episode. We have got to learn how to follow the leading of the Holy Spirit. I have watched my mother over the years. There's 5 of us. Okay, 4 of us are adults, and then we got a 14-year-old little sister. The way she raised us is totally different from how she's raising my little sister. Why? Because she has to adapt to the leading of the Holy Spirit, because the times are different.
Yes.
You can't be sitting around thinking you have experienced what these children are experiencing. You have not. You don't have the access they have. You don't have the exposure that they have. And the wickedness that is now running rampant in the earth has never been present in the earth before. These children can't even go outside. We have to pray for one another. We have to be willing to be obedient. Wherever God sends me, I'm willing to go. So, in a few minutes, could we get you guys to each sum up where your thoughts are on this subject?
Well, we met many places. And even in going many places, it still comes back to the village. It really does. I want to encourage us, those people that are in your life, because you've got people in your life who tries to impart to you a better way of life, just a better way of life, how to be honest and how to be integrous, and how to not always trying to slip and get over. That get over spirit, that fella's coming to an end.
Come on.
I want to encourage you to, go by and see your grandmama.
Amen.
Go by and see her.
And let her talk.
Spend some time and let her talk to you and tell you, and you know what, she's gonna say the same thing over and over
and over.
But it's gonna be okay.
It's all right.
It's gonna be okay. Because when the door, when the eyes close, you won't be the one falling in the floor.
Come on now.
And jumping in the casket down there at the hole and all of that foolishness. Why? Because you would have went and spent time. And you would have gleaned from them. That's a grandmama, a granddaddy, a auntie, an uncle, a cousin, all of the senior people in your life. And teach the children how to go sit and listen to them.
Amen.
And not make fun of them.
How to honor and respect them.
All
Amen.
right.
I'm going to leave, play it forward. When you have been blessed, bless someone else. Don't bless them to the point where you're not taking care of yourself, but, seek God first and then play it forward. Stop being selfish in your ways and try to bring that village thought back. It worked for me.
Yeah, it worked.
And I know it worked for other people. So there's nothing wrong with the village raising the children and sometimes the adults. I just want to put it out there. Think about things, make good choices, and play it forward.
All right.
Amen.
Amen.
Now, this chair has been extremely uncomfortable, and I have fidgeted the entire time. But I pray you got in a comfortable spot and you received a word from Mama. Honey, we have two dynamic ladies here today, Miss Deanna and Lady McNair, for your Mama Moment, and we hope to see you next week. God bless you. We'll see you later.